Welcome to a Community Partners interview where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Sean Pickard, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Terri Gray, who is the Executive Director for Community Living Oshawa and Clarington. Community Living Oshawa and Clarington is dedicated to voice and choice by fostering opportunities for meaningful inclusion and well-being for people with developmental disabilities and their families. This vision is for a community where everyone belongs, is valued, and has the opportunity to succeed and flourish. Thank you for joining us today, Terri. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Learn a little bit more about Community Living Oshawa and Clarington and exactly what's going on there. But before we get into Community Living Oshawa and Clarington, tell me a little bit more about the Terri Gray experience. What inspired you to work at Community Living Oshawa and Clarington? Why work with individuals with disabilities?
Well, I have been working with the same employer for 38 years, which isn't common anymore. I think I'm one of those dying breeds, maybe, I'm not sure. But I came into this organization 38 years ago in May. And what really drew me to work here is that our work is grounded in relationships, belonging, and social justice. And what really inspired me is CLOC's belief that people with a developmental disability belong fully in their community and that support's built around them, not a system. And it's that values-based approach that really helps align how I see leadership and community impact. And I admire how CLOC walks along beside people, their families, and our broader community to help people live their best life. I couldn't be happier and more committed to this sector. And it continues. I get a lot more out of being able to work here than I'm sure I contribute.
Oh, it sounds like there's some very individualized programming going on at Community Living Oshawa Clarington. You call it CLOC?
Yeah, we call it CLOC for short.
Oh, we may have to use that a few times here. But before we get going, let's talk about any myths and misconceptions about the clients of Community Living Oshawa and Clarington. What do you hear? What do you run into?
Well, I think sometimes people make assumptions about what people can and can't do, and exclude people from decision-making or opportunities based on those assumptions, whether that be, what they can accomplish in the world of work, in school, relationships, even what's safe or what they can achieve. So I think a lot of assumptions are out there and do actually impact on people's opportunities to be successful and to be included and to belong.
And you touched base on one of the things that really bothers me as an individual, Terri, which is the limiting of individuals with disabilities. You can't do that, you're not capable, or sometimes even the person thinking, I can't do that, I'm not capable. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that one up.
Yeah, people do make a lot of assumptions, and it doesn't, being able to help include people isn't all that difficult. It really just means being able to listen, being able to adjust your assumptions, be able to keep an open mind and invite people, and make sure that people have that opportunity to belong in their communities fully and, take on whatever role it is that they want to take on in their community, whether it be work, friendships, social, recreation. The sky's the limit. People do need to be welcome, though. And they do need to have that opportunity to have voice, choice, and be able to belong.
And that's very important, that feeling of belonging.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about belonging to CLOC, so to speak. Because while I was going through, checking things out on the website before our interview here today, doing a little bit of research, I saw you have a number of different services that are on tap at CLOC. So can you tell us a bit more about all the various services and things that are going on at CLOC?
Sure. So we offer a wide range of supports They're all grounded in community inclusion and choice. This includes residential supports, which we have a group living, as well as supported independent living, where people might live in their own apartment and just need some support. Community participation. We also have community support services, so staff that help people with planning and service navigation. We have respite supports, summer camps, and we help people just to navigate things like funding or where else they might be able to find other services and supports, help with future planning, helping people build meaningful connections in their community. Everything we do is person-centered and focuses on the person living their best life and the life that they choose. In addition, CLOC also helps families with brokering passports funding. Passports funding is specifically funding that's available. It's like direct funding to families from Ministry of Community and Social Services. And CLOC helps families to broker their funding so that we help them use that funding through helping them pay the bills that come up around the supports required and help with the planning around how they're going to use it effectively and to connect with those services meaningfully. We also offer the community-focused supports on a fee-for-service basis. So people that do have direct funding from the Ministry of Community and Social Services, whether it be passport funding or other direct funding, CLOC has that individual flexible supports for folks, people and their families, whether that's helping people build new skills, engage in their community, or develop employment readiness. And right now we're expanding those community-based supports through new flexible evening, weekend options. We just got a grant through the Ontario Trillium Foundation that helps us. It actually starts April 1st, 2026, helps us really focus on expanding those services to help support more people that are waiting for services on wait lists. So these new supports will be focused on, skill building, could be creative arts, wellness, technology, community supports, employment readiness, those types of things. And again, it's focused. Those resources are focused on folks that are getting direct funding that can purchase their own supports.
That sounds like an awesome lineup of stuff that you have on the go there. But there's one thing I really, really want to touch on, Terri, that we haven't heard about yet. And I hope I don't make a joke out of this, to be honest with you, Terri, because it kind of sounds like folks with eye masks and capes running around for the next group. Can we talk about the Phoenix Group of Advocates, please?
Absolutely. So we have a group of self-advocates, people that have a developmental disability that are supported by Community Living Oshawa Clarington, that they get together and work with one another around, how do people take leadership roles in the organization, in their community, in their own lives. How do they help each other raise their voice and help shape how living their best lives look, how to shape their community, how to shape the world around them, and support one another while they're doing that and advocate for themselves, for each other, and for the sector.
That does sound like an amazing group. Now, is this group someone that shows up at community events, kind of like, radio stations have a road crew? When will we see the Phoenix Group of Advocates?
Yeah. So our Phoenix Group of Advocates recently, the last few tours, I guess, that they've taken, speaking to City Council around equity, diversity, and inclusion, helping us with a project with them. We created a project with them around National Accessibility Week, which was absolutely amazing. They've spoke at Durham College to new people coming out into the world of work, and in particular people wanting to come to work in developmental services. They also participate in internal committees, as well as they just attended one of our strategic planning action days. So they're making sure that there's a lived experience voice in what it is that we're doing to look at innovation and creativity within our own organization, and how we're going to want to impact the rest of our community. So lots of opportunities for them to come out. They've done some pretty amazing things already, but are raring to go, and to be able to get out there and continue to raise their voice.
That sounds awesome. And I loved the lived experience voice. It's it's a change in the times, Terry. That's the best way to put it, I think, because something like the Phoenix Group of Advocates never would have happened 20 years ago. No.
No, no. But seeing people come together to get that support, be confident and safe and secure, and just seeing people blossom and take on that role and raising their voice is absolutely amazing. But we do come from a sector that's grounded in grassroots and people coming together to make major changes. So people's families all come together. Well, for us, it's over 73 years ago, to make sure that there were opportunities for people with developmental disabilities to be included in their community, because then that wasn't the case. There were no supports and services, and people either went to institutions or just stayed at home because there was no education, there was no supports, no community opportunities. So those families raised their voice. So it's just part of our trajectory, part of our history, and part of our past and future.
It is.
Very exciting to see.
And we talked about a number of different programs and supports you have, right? Community supports and services, or future planning, some passport funding, making connections, things of that nature. But are there any restrictions to the services and programs at Community Living Oshawa and Clarington, such as age or disability type only, caregivers or family members only, things of that nature? Are there any restrictions to some of the programs?
So there are, in that to receive developmental services, you have to have a diagnosis of a developmental disability. So there needs to be in terms of getting services and supports, you have to go through Developmental Services Ontario, and they are the kind of the front door to services. So there is a whole process around accessing services, qualifying for services. So they go through that process, and then they also manage our vacancies for for government funded services. So if we have a vacancy in service, you have to go through the DSO to be on the, I guess, provincial wait list to be able to access those services that way. For our community services through passports, families that already receive passport funding through the ministry have already gone through the DSO to receive those services, so they can come directly to the agency. And then children that have a developmental disability, they need to come directly through the agency for intake and planning, that kind of thing. And then some of our services are children's services, and some of our services are adult services. So there are specific age ranges, that kind of thing. Nothing in particular around a specific disability, though.
Okay. Lots of good information there, Terry. Thank you. Oh, I guess I should add to this. There would be, this is Community Living Oshawa and Clarington, so a bit of a geographic limitation as well.
Right. Sorry. Yep. You're absolutely right. We do actually have services in up into Whitby, and then obviously all over Clarington and Oshawa. But for children, our geographic area is the Durham region. So we have a broader geographic area that way.
That is a much broader geographic area for children.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for my next question, Terry, I'm going to make it hard on you. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh.
But our next question, it revolves around a success story, right? Someone comes to you, asks for help. What happened, right? But can I get two from you, Terry? Can I get a children's story and an adult story?
Sure. Okay, so I'll jump into the adult story. we have, I've been working in the sector, as I mentioned, a long time. So I'll tell you a story about a woman. I'll call her Debbie. That's not her name, but I met her back when she was leaving high school. She's living at home with her family, and had wanted to figure out what were the next opportunities in her life. Through working with her, we were able to get her connected to employment supports. We were able to help her get connected to community services, and then so she just recently celebrated, I think it was 25 years working at McDonald's, and she's also recently, her family moved from the small town they lived in, and in the home that they've purchased, they were able to purchase a home that had like a granny flat on it. So she's now living more independently on her own. She's cooking, responsible for her own cooking, with supports, and obviously supported and cared for with her family. And she's somebody who has an aspiration to write. So she's an author. She wants to be able to actually continue to write books. Maybe one day we're encouraging her to publish. We'll see if she actually does that. But, really, she's living her best life. And so that's an amazing story for Debbie. For a child, I'm trying to think. We want to make sure that families can uh, be able to get the support that they need so that their family and their child can have the best life that they can have. So we'll think a little bit about, often when you have little children or children and they need additional supports, but you're working, you have other children in the family, sports that you might be running to, or whatever it is that complicates your life. Sometimes you need that little bit of extra help. So families accessing our respite home, being able to have some additional supports while the kid gets to decide. We have a program called My Stay, My Way. So it's wrapped around what it is that they want to get out of that visit, that, whether it be social, recreational, community activities while they're visiting with us, staying with us. So that would be a success story for a family, being able to have that extra support.
I love that. That is awesome. Really happy for Debbie too. I mean, over 25 years at McDonald's.
I know.
Well, I mean, you and Debbie, I mean, quite honestly, those, double numbers for employment, that's something I don't think I will ever achieve. So I have to congratulate both you and Debbie on that, because you're way above me there.
Yeah, it's, when I look in the mirror, I see the age, but
oh yeah, I look in the mirror in the morning and go, this just ain't getting better. So, let's see here. Events. Let's talk about events. Now, an organization like Community Living Oshawa and Clarington, you got to go out. You got to let people know where you are, what you're doing. And of course, you're also hoping to get a little bit of community support, donations, volunteers, things of that nature. So with that in mind, Terri, are there any events coming up for Community Living Oshawa and Clarington? Where will we see Clock or even the Phoenix Group in the next little bit?
So one event that's coming up in March, we're hosting a launch to our Trillium grant for our service expansion. So we've got a date set up where we'll be having families, local politicians, people we serve, our employees and community to help us listen to what people are wanting and needing to provide us with feedback on our future directions and what kinds of supports people are wanting. And we're also going to be thanking the Trillium Foundation and recognizing them at that upcoming event. The Phoenix Group will be there. Our staff will be there, and hopefully our community will come out to help support that event, and we'll get some great feedback from people we serve and their families around what it is that they want. We don't have a fundraising event coming up immediately, but that I can give you. But that's what jumps to my mind right now, and we're really excited about that event coming up. We're also going to be speaking at the next Clarington Council meeting, or actually not so much speaking, but receiving a check from the Mayor's Golf Tournament that happened in the summer. And so we'll be there to accept that check and that support. We're very, very thankful for that support, and a member of the Phoenix group will be along with me to help accept that special.
You're going to have one of those checks that's bigger than
Gift.
you, right? Those are awesome. Hope so. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. I don't know
we'll
how to put
figure
that
it
in the
out.
ATM yet, but we'll see.
Now, let's talk about my favorite question here, Terri. And this is going to tell us a lot about you, too. But what is the one thing you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be? And how do we stop it?
I think there are always going to be, challenges for people with disabilities being excluded from decision making or opportunities or community life. And I think most the most powerful thing people can do is simply hold space for inclusion and belonging. Real change happens in everyday places like schools, workplaces, our neighborhoods, our community, and our friendship circles. And inviting someone in, listening, adjusting our expectations so that everyone feels that they can belong is so important. And when people are welcomed and valued, it changes lives. You don't need to be an expert to make a difference. Anyone can do this. Kindness, openness, willingness to be included or to include people where you live, work, and play. It really helps people to belong. A huge challenge for inclusion is, obviously long wait lists. There are 53,000 plus people with developmental disabilities waiting for services. And that's more people than actually in services across Ontario. So we've got a huge demand and need for services, and so many people are waiting. So Community Living Ontario created a Waiting to Belong campaign to help raise that voice and awareness for what the needs are in our sector. So people can become involved by maybe checking out the Waiting to Belong campaign, going on the Community Living Ontario website to see what's happening there. We also have seen an Ontario Ombudsman's finding on developmental services, and they're very clear about the real human impact on delays for getting services and supports. And fixing all of this really requires adequate and sustained government funding. So that really requires advocacy. So families, community members, and organizations raising their voice, sharing those stories, the lived experience, with the elected officials, and having that sector-wide advocacy, calling for earlier and more flexible supports. I see a lot of people graduating from high school. It's like falling off that cliff. They don't, they have all these supports in place, and then once they graduate, there's a huge wait list for services. So that really puts families in crisis. Investing early and listening to that lived experience. If we're able to do that, we're not just preventing crisis. We're helping to build those inclusive communities and helping people to truly belong. And people can get involved in meaningful ways. They can visit the Waiting to Belong page on the Community Living Ontario website. And we're looking for those shared experiences, people to be able to add their voice and their stories, and helping to advocate on a provincial level as well as locally. You can reach out to CLOC directly to help us with our advocacy. We've got our self-advocate group that would welcome new members. And also, if we encourage people to tell their stories to their local MPPs, and those stories really help put that human face on policy decisions and funding gaps. So just seeing a lot of people, in crisis rather than building those best lives. And we want to make sure that we're able to raise that momentum for that voice and advocacy for this sector, because it really, really matters.
I love the fact that you're trying to put a voice to crisis here, Terri. But I do need to clarify one thing. 53,000 plus people waiting for services. Now, is that
is correct?
Is that Durham region? Is that Ontario?
Sorry, that's Ontario. That number's on. I know for Durham region, it's over 10,000.
That is still a huge number, though, just for Durham region. So over 53,000 individuals in the province waiting for assistance. That's a mind-boggling number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it does put a pressure on the system, because it means there are way more people waiting. So, services are, prioritized in terms of those most in need, and it just means that we're crisis focused constantly as a system and a sector.
Exactly. Now, if someone wanted to become a member or volunteer with Community Living Oshawa and Clarington, what's the process for joining, both as a member or a volunteer?
Well, I think we really love and encourage people to join us. You can do it in many ways. You can, look at volunteering. So we are a nonprofit organization governed by a board of directors. So we're always looking for people to want to sit on our board or sit on committees, or volunteering their skills, interests, and talents, mentoring somebody that receives supports, and contributing to our organization in those ways. You can also be a donor or become an advocate, through some of the ways I've already talked about, whether that's, through one of those campaigns, or whether that's joining our Phoenix group. There are those different ways of getting involved. And also, our fundraising events, being able to participate in helping us raise funds, that would always be appreciated. And there are many great ways to get involved for people who care about inclusion in their community and wanting to support the work that we do.
I love it. Now, what's the one thing everyone needs to know about Community Living Oshawa and Clarington?
Well, we're here, and we really want to help build that bridge. We want to help people live their best lives and have choice and control, and be in the driver's seat. So we want to make sure we're wrapping around people so that they have the supports and services they need to live a life in community. And we just want to get out of the way so that people can do that and just have the supports that they want and need to do that. And we want to be able to support our community to be able to create those opportunities.
I love it, being able to support the community for those opportunities. Now, we are running out of time here, Terri, so we got to get things tied up a little bit here. But if people are looking for more information, they want to reach out to CLOC, find out how they can join or be a volunteer, things of that nature, how can people reach out to you? Are we talking website, 1-800 number, carrier pigeon? What do they do?
You can reach out at our website at communitylivingoc.ca, and or call our office. Either way works. Carrier pigeons are good too. But yeah, just give us a shout, and we're here to help guide that conversation and look at what are the things that we can do to get you connected to CLOC.
Sounds good. Now, we are running out of time here, Terri. Would you care to say goodbye to the folks at home?
Yeah, well, I hope that everyone's having a great day, and really excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me, and would love to be able to connect further and look at ways that we can collaborate.
Thank you very much, Terri.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Terri Gray, the Executive Director of Community Living Oshawa and Clarington. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. I'm your host, Sean Pickard. Until next time, bye for now.